Buying the wrong Porsche 911 can trigger a $30,000 repair bill in your first year of ownership, but the right one will appreciate faster than your stock portfolio. The 911 has been in production for over 60 years, and there are 30 distinct models cluttering the used market right now. Today, I'm going to tell you exactly which ones are rising, which ones will drain your bank account, and the specific model to buy before the market moves. Think of this not just as a car, but as a capital investment you can actually drive. Now we have to start with the legends, the air-cooled cars. This is the 1995 to 1998 Porsche 993, and it represents the final chapter of the air-cooled story. It is beautiful to look at, but prices have already reacted to that beauty. Clean examples that traded for $60,000 just 5 years ago are now clearing $120,000. You could have bought 2 of these for the price of 1 today. Then there is the 964, which now commands a $50,000 to $80,000 entry fee, just for a decent driver. These have transitioned from driver's cars to collector assets. If you're buying an air-cooled 911 now, you're paying retail for someone else's foresight. The ship has sailed. The maintenance on these requires specialist knowledge that is becoming increasingly expensive and rare. Unless you have a 6-figure play budget and you want a garage queen to look at while you drink expensive whiskey, these are no longer the smart money entry point. The investment window for massive growth is closed. You're buying at the top of the mountain. That brings me to the water-cooled era, where the real opportunities are hiding. When Porsche switched from air to water, the purists hated it. But that hate created a price floor that we can exploit today. If you're ready to find the next car that's going to double in value, we need to look at the generations that everyone else is still afraid of. Now we move into the era of the water-cooled cars, starting with the 996. This car was sold from 1999 to 2004, and it is easily the most controversial 911 ever made. People hated the fried egg headlights, and they hated that it shared parts with the Boxster. But the most interesting thing about the 996 is the price. Right now, you can find these between $18,000 and $35,000. That is the lowest barrier to entry for any 911 on the market. But you have to watch out for the idiot tax. The 996 has the infamous IMS bearing issue. If that bearing fails, your engine is essentially a very expensive paperweight. The reality check here is simple. You need to budget $2,000 for a proactive IMS fix the moment you buy the car. That is the difference between having a reliable flat six you can enjoy every day and facing a $10,000 engine replacement. A $2,000 part determines the fate of a $30,000 car. If you find a 996 with a documented IMS upgrade, you've found a bargain. But don't stop there. The later 3.6-liter engines in the 996 can also suffer from bore scoring. It is less common than the IMS issue, but if it happens, you are looking at over $15,000 for a top-end rebuild. So getting a professional pre-purchase inspection with a bore scope is absolutely non-negotiable. You'd think a cheap Porsche is a great deal, but without that inspection, it's a massive gamble. Next up, we have the 997.1, which ran from 2005 to 2008. Porsche brought back the round headlights, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief. It looks like a proper 911 again, but the 997.1 has a dirty secret that many buyers ignore. The 3.8-liter engines in the Carrera S models are notorious for bore scoring. This isn't just a minor leak. It's a structural failure that can lead to a $12,000 to $18,000 rebuild. Imagine buying your dream car, then having to spend nearly $20,000 just to keep it on the road. That is why you must be obsessed with service records. If the owner didn't change the oil every 5,000 miles or less, walk away. However, there is one massive sleeper in this generation. The 997.1 Turbo is still a fantastic value at under $70,000. Though, if you want the 6-speed manual, you need to be ready for a massive price jump. In this generation, manual turbos command a 50% premium over their PDK counterparts, because they're just that rare. The reason is the engine. The turbo uses the legendary Metzger engine, which was designed for racing and completely avoids the fatal IMS and bore scoring flaws of the standard Carrera. It is a bulletproof supercar that you can actually drive to work. You're getting a car that can do 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds, and it won't explode on the highway. These two generations are for the buyer who is willing to do the mechanical homework. You are essentially trading your time and research for a massive discount on the Porsche badge. You have to be willing to look at the boring stuff, like oil analysis reports and cooling system maintenance. If you do that, you can secure a 911 that feels modern and fast for a fraction of what a new one costs. But if you skip the due diligence, the 911 carries a heavy maintenance tax that can wipe out your initial savings in a single service visit. It's a precision instrument, and it requires precision ownership. Now, before we get too far into the mechanics, let's talk about the newer cars, because the financial math changes completely once you step into the modern era. You're moving away from mechanical risks and into the world of electronic taxes and steep depreciation curves. Let's see if the newer technology is actually worth the extra cost. Now we enter the era of the 991, which ran from 2012 to 2019. This is the moment the 911 truly grew up. It got a longer wheelbase, a much wider track, and an interior that actually feels like a high-end luxury product rather than a German sports car from the 90s. But here is where the financial math shifts from mechanical nightmares to electronic taxes. The 991.1 is particularly special because it is the last naturally aspirated non-GT 911 ever built. For many of you, that makes it the ultimate target. You get that screaming flat-six sound without any turbochargers muffling the music. It is a high-priority target for enthusiasts who want a modern car but still want that direct connection to the engine. Right now, manual 991.1s have stabilized at around 45 to 60% of their original MSRP, meaning the floor is likely established. However, you have to be aware of the financial warning signs. If you buy a 991 with the PDK dual-clutch transmission, you need to understand that these units are often treated as sealed components by Porsche. If a sensor fails inside that gearbox out of warranty, you are looking at repairs ranging from $1,200 to $8,500 because the dealership will likely just replace the entire unit rather than cracking it open to fix a small part. It is a massive expense that can turn a great deal into a financial disaster. This is why many buyers in this segment are willing to pay a premium for a car with a Porsche certified pre-owned warranty. But since many of these cars are aging out of official coverage, third-party warranties are the new reality, and they aren't cheap. Quotes are currently running between $4,400 and $7,900 for a few years of protection. You are paying for peace of mind in a car that is increasingly controlled by complex computers and sophisticated hydraulics. A single electronic glitch can cost more than a used hatchback. The 991 is a fantastic daily driver, but it is not a simple machine. And that brings us to the current king of the hill, the 992. This car came out in 2020, and it is a technical marvel. It is faster, more stable, and more digital than anything that came before it. But from the perspective of equity erosion, you are catching a falling knife. The 992 is currently in the guaranteed loss zone of the depreciation curve. These cars are still relatively new, and they are being produced in significant numbers, with the new hybrid models starting to hit the showrooms. The older non-hybrid 992s are going to take a hit. Market data suggests we could see a 25 to 35% drop in value over the next 3 years. If you buy a brand new 911 today for $150,000, you're essentially paying for the privilege of being the first person to sit in the seat. That is a luxury experience, not a smart money play. You are losing thousands of dollars the moment you drive it off the lot. You're basically burning a stack of cash every single mile you drive just for the sake of having the latest technology. For the buyer who values a warranty and the newest infotainment screen over everything else, the 992 is perfect. But if you're trying to build a connection that actually makes financial sense, you have to stay away from the top of the depreciation curve. You want to buy the car that has already done its sliding and is now starting to climb back up. The 992 is a brilliant piece of engineering, but it is currently a liability on your balance sheet. It is the most refined 911 ever made, yet it is the one that will cost you the most in lost equity over the short term. Market data shows the 992 declines much faster in absolute dollars than older generations like the 997.2, which has already finished its steepest drop. You have to decide if that refinement is worth $30,000 in depreciation. If you're looking for the sweet spot where the engineering is peak and the prices are bottomed out, we have to look back just a few years. If this breakdown is saving you from a $30,000 mistake, hit that like button. It helps more than you think, and I genuinely appreciate it. Now, we have reached the moment you have been waiting for. If you want to know where the smart money is moving right now, you have to look at the 2009 to 2012 Porsche 997.2 Carrera S. But if you want this to be a true appreciating asset class, you have to find the right spec. There is one specific combination of options that separates a nice car from a six-figure asset in the making. This specific model is currently the most undervalued 911 relative to its future price ceiling. It is the perfect intersection of modern reliability and that classic compact 911 footprint that will never be built again. When Porsche updated the 997 for the 2009 model year, they did something incredible. They eliminated the IMS bearing entirely by introducing the direct fuel injection engine. They also nearly solved the bore scoring issues that plagued the earlier water-cooled cars. You're getting a car that is basically bulletproof, but still feels mechanical and raw. It still has hydraulic steering, which gives you a level of feedback through the steering wheel that modern electric systems simply cannot replicate. You feel every pebble and every change in the road surface. It makes you feel like the car is an extension of your own body. But if you want this to be a true appreciating asset class, you have to find the right spec. Manual shifter, GT silver, Atlas gray paint, sport chrono clock, PASM button. The investment spec is a manual coupe equipped with those exact features. PCCB ceramic brakes? Nice on paper, but replacement rotors run 8 to 12 grand a set. For investment spec, standard steel brakes actually widen your buyer pool. Skip the ceramics, take a look at the market data. In Q1 2026, manual 997.2 Carrera S coupes averaged nearly $72,000. That is a 15 to 25% premium over the PDK versions. And that gap is widening every single month as the analog narrative takes hold of the collector world. People are realizing that as cars become more digital and autonomous, the value of a 3-pedal manual gearbox goes through the roof. It is about the engagement and the soul of the drive. While a driver quality car might sit at $75,000, conservative projections suggest pristine manual examples could average $100,000 by 2027. Why? Because the supply is shrinking. Clean manual examples are being bought by collectors who have no intention of selling them. They are locking them away in private garages, and when supply goes down while demand for analog experiences goes up, there is only one direction for the price to go. Think about the 993 we discussed earlier. The 997.2 is following that exact same pattern, but it is much easier to live with. You can take this car on a 1,000-mile road trip, use the heated seats, connect your phone to the updated PCM system, and arrive feeling refreshed. It is the last 911 that fits in a standard parking space without feeling like a wide-body cruiser. It is the sweet spot. If you wait until the mainstream media and every other YouTuber agrees that this is the best 911 ever made, you are going to be too late. You will be paying six figures for the privilege of owning a car that you could have bought for half that price today. This is about having the vision to see what's coming. The 997.2 is the bridge between the old world and the new, and right now, the bridge is still open. But the tolls are about to get a lot more expensive. You need to act while the data is still on your side. The 997.2 is the final stop before the 911 became too big and too digital. It is the last of its kind. Find a clean manual example with service records now, or prepare to watch the prices double from the sidelines. I've pinned a comment below with my full 997 investment spec checklist so you know exactly what to look for on the auction sites. Subscribe to track the market before your next move.